Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the series Meeting Your Shadow. Today we're going to be discussing the card The Lovers, one of my favorites. I think a lot of people get excited about this card when they get it at a reading, right? So if you guys are experiencing this card, seeing it in your readings, it's coming up for you, or even if you're just struggling, right? Or you're feeling some of that tense energy, okay, in relationships, whether that's intimate, friends, family, work, okay? There could be communication blocks. We're here to talk about it, okay? So, full disclosure, I do have my laptop in front of me, okay? I just got done typing this up, so it's like midnight, but I really, really wanted to record this for you guys and get it out, okay? So, my loves, upright, this card is going to talk about, again, love, harmony, relationships, our values, okay? I'm going to be referring to our values, and the video I did previously, the Hierophant, okay? The Hierophant, however you want to pronounce it, you may want to go and reflect and go watch that if you haven't yet, or just kind of catch up on that, okay? Especially if you're doing your shadow work through here, because as I've mentioned before, the Major Arcana is like the tarot Bible, okay, and is the journey. It really helps us get through life, and there's stages to this, okay? So a lot of the skills that we need to deal with the energy of the lovers and truly understand and absorb and complete the lessons that we're all needing to learn when we stumble across this part of our journey, we do have to understand the Hierophant and the values, okay? So yeah, and most of all, if you have watched tarot, this may have come up. I know I've mentioned it in my readings. The Lovers has to do with choice, okay? Choice about who you are, who you're going to be, who you're going to show up as, what you're going to say, what you're going to do. Again, it has a lot to do with discovering who you are, right? Aligning yourself with those values, okay? It does represent conscious connections, okay? Like deep, deep, deep soul connections. This is way deeper than instant gratification, lust, a sexual chemistry, okay? That may definitely exist, absolutely, but it's a different level, okay? This is something that's very safe. It's very sacred, okay? Spiritual. It's a spiritual connection, okay? It's open communication, raw honesty. We're in our most vulnerable state, okay, when we're embracing the energy of the Lovers, which really allows us to empower one another, okay, the person that we're dealing with, because we're making that safe, and I'll touch more on that later, okay? Relationships, again, family, friends, co-workers, and the relationship with yourself. It's all about being willing to be in that vulnerable state, learning how to have those open heart conversations, open our hearts to each other, right? Feel seen, right? That is also going to mean we're going to feel exposed, okay? It's sharing our truest feelings, okay? It's building that trust in our relationships, which also builds confidence within ourselves when we embrace who we are and we allow ourselves to be seen in our most raw state, right? After coming out of the Hierophant, it is time for you to be clear on what you stand for. Establish who and what are essential, okay, in your life, right? What's unconditional. We talked a lot about this in the Empress video, right? Meeting people where they are, accepting situations for where they are, letting go of the attachment, okay? We can use so many of those lessons as well in this part of our journey, especially since the next video we'll do after this is the Chariot, okay? So this is kind of the final pause before we take action and we're moving on, okay? But yeah, it's a time to be clear on what you stand for, establish, again, who's essential, right? All about how to remain authentic with yourself. Again, it's a choice about who you want to be in this lifetime, okay? How you want to connect with others and how deep, okay? We all have many, many layers, right? And we'll discover that during our own healing journey, right? We'll be like, I thought I healed this. We come back to things again and again because there's another layer, okay? And we have control and we have power how deeply we allow ourselves to be seen, okay? Let's see. The Lovers can also be a sign here that you're facing, actually it's really typically a sign that you're facing some type of moral dilemma, okay? Some inner conflict where it's like, again, my values are being challenged, right? It's so important here that we consider the consequences before we act, okay? This again has a lot to do with ego versus soul attachments, which comes up a lot in our readings, okay? But yeah, you're being called to take the higher path here, okay? Even when it's so tempting, right? To cut corners, you may think something's a little bit easier or want to pull out immediately, okay? It's all about unifying dual forces, okay? That's that high priestess energy, accepting duality, right? In every choice, there's an equal amount of advantages, disadvantages, okay? Challenges, rewards, and opportunities. And when we accept the inner priestess within us, okay, and we, again, accept duality, right? We accept adversity, and now we're just looking at the truth. We're blessed with the gift of seeing a situation for what it is, okay? We can allow ourselves to build unity and allow the flow of love, okay, to go through that. It's all about releasing the guilt, okay, the fear, the shame, choosing love, choosing you, okay? Excuse me. So if this is coming up reversed for you in your reading, I'm gonna grab some water. I'm still recovering from a cold, guys. It's definitely going to want to talk about self-love for you, okay, because there's some disharmony, okay, imbalance going on in your relationships, misalignment in your values, right? It is a sign that you are out of sync with your loved ones. Your relationships could be strained, okay, challenge in communication. Again, another sign that you're not sharing those same values. It's important to return to the foundation, okay, of why this person's in your life. If it's met with unconditional love, right, and you want to keep their presence, compassion is needed here, okay? And I will go over that more. In other cases, you may realize that you've grown apart from this person or this situation, okay? And it's time to move on. You're honoring yourself by choosing you, okay? A sign of feelings, it's a sign that feelings within a relationship are not mutual, okay? One could be more emotionally invested than the other, okay? Unrequited love, right? Especially if you're getting like the Six of Pentacles with the Lovers. But that gap, okay? When someone is more emotionally invested than another, it can lead to disappointment, okay, and insecurities later in life that really just break down that relationship, okay? So you're truly doing the highest good for you and for others by acknowledging the gap now, okay? Again, you could be reluctant to open your heart, okay, out of fear or pain, right? We talked a little bit about that with vulnerability. A good question to ask yourself is, to what extent do you honor yourself and accept the impact and the value that you have in this world? That's a very humbling question, okay? Especially when you take it seriously and really try to answer it. Can you answer it? Because that's a level within yourself, right? A layer within yourself that we may all still be getting to. Be mindful, okay, when you are admiring traits within others, okay? If you're in a relationship and you're like, wow, I wish I could communicate like this person, or you recognize something, okay? You're recognizing that because it exists within you. People are mirrors here, okay? I'm going to touch on that more. And then again, if you're struggling with guilt or shame, revisit the Hierophant, articulate those values. They will help you make better choices, okay? The first thing I kind of want to touch on here is misalignment of values in our relationships. It's just so much. So let's really dive into that for a moment, okay? When experiencing disharmony in relationships, there is I need to choose to meet somebody where they are, right? That Empress energy, we talked about it earlier, or we have to let the situation go. When we have congruent values, okay, it provides us the connections and the partnerships that all of our souls seek, okay? We're human here. Knowing exactly who you are allows others to know you as well, right? We have to know ourselves as deeply as we want to be seen, okay? It's that saying with, you can only love somebody after you love yourself. It's that same energy, okay? Holding on to an unhealthy situation can provide a lifetime of compromise while growing in different directions. It's one of the hardest life lessons I think I've had to accept, and I'm recording this at the end of 2021, right? So bless me, are things better in the future when you're watching this? Has been that love is not enough. There's a level of sadness to that, right? But we need, the magician taught us, okay, that we need all elements to succeed here, okay? And I saw this quote that was really, really perfect. Love without the head is just a heart taking a beating, okay? So love can only be enough in the 5D. You can absolutely feel that love, okay? When you cut a connection, those emotions can still exist for you, okay? You're choosing you, you're aligning yourself with your values and making that a priority to not have that relationship in your life, but it doesn't mean that that energy of love, it doesn't exist, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Communication is key, okay? So if you do want to try to keep this person in your life, there's some things you're gonna have to accept, okay? Excuse me. So let's talk about communication, actually. It's going to take more work to understand where the other person's coming from, okay, to understand their experience when you guys have different values, okay? It's going to be hard to get united on the same page. It's going to involve a lot of compromise, okay? Learn to be okay with not sharing everything with your partner. There's going to be parts of your life that are just for you. Learn how to make that empowering, okay? Learn to give your partner the necessary space and time and energy that they're going to need to nourish their own values, right? You have to accept that within them as well, okay? Very important. You have to make peace with this and practice non-attachment for this to work, okay? Otherwise, again, you're just gonna experience that gap, okay? That builds over time. The goal is to have enough safety in the relationship and the connection that you're dealing with, that not sharing every single thing, right, doesn't threaten the relationship. It doesn't challenge the relationship, okay? And for some people, that's gonna work and that's gonna be awesome, and that's exactly what they need, right? They need their own personal little thing. For others, like water signs, right? Like I imagine 2 air signs could probably do that really healthy, or like 2 earth signs, right? But like water signs, maybe fire signs, no, like we want to engulf ourselves. So like we may want to consider people that have the same values as us, okay? Let's talk about examples of that, okay? Examples of some values. Now, I did definitely talk about this in the High Priestess, in the Empress, in the Emperor video, but just to kind of catch us up here, okay? This can be religious and spiritual values, okay? Health and wellness. Do you enjoy living an active lifestyle? Do you want to hang out and Netflix, right? Do you enjoy working for yourself, okay? Have that entrepreneur energy, or do you enjoy going to work for a company, okay? Do you like to travel, or do you like to stay in one place? Do you have big dreams, or do you want a simple life? What about personal development? Are you about all growth, okay? Are you living to work or working to live? And both are okay. It's just important to know where you stand, where you fall on that, where your values align, okay? What are your family values? Kids, marriage? What about a sense of humor, political stuff? Okay, it all boils down to what is important to us, okay? That's how we're going to define our values. And again, the more aligned values that we share with somebody, the more fulfilling and the easier the connection will flow, okay? It's really important to ask yourself, okay, when evaluating where or if a connection belongs in your life. Is this a true expression of my heart? Okay. Sometimes it's the easiest questions, right, that provide us the most clarity in like the hardest, darkest times. Okay. The second thing I want to touch on is this card can be coming up, okay, or we can be struggling with not being able to take accountability, right? Jumping to being defensive, okay? So I want to touch on this just a little bit. Accountability builds trust, okay, and it earns you respect while also providing you with a clear conscience, okay, because you know that you have now been authentic, right, and transparent. And it provides you with personal growth, so high five, right? It's all about taking ownership, okay, of the mistake or the fault, but also making amends, right? Taking action, being proactive to not continue to make those mistakes, okay? I'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. But don't get defensive. Taking ownership, taking that responsibility, it's empowering because it reminds us that we do have some control, okay, over what roles we play in our relationships. And I know I'm going to repeat myself a little bit in a moment, but there's just so much strength and gentleness in admitting I fucked up, you know? The deepest connections I have built have been because I've allowed somebody to see me be a human and I've owned it. And in return, it provided that person a safe space to mirror that right back to me. And it is something I absolutely cherish in the 3D and the 5D, okay? So it's important to remember that just like you, people are allowed to grow and develop, right? So leave that energy for fuck ups. Be forgiving, especially if someone's willing to take accountability, especially if they're coming to you telling you, I know I fucked up and here's how I'm going to be better, okay? That's a huge tool for a measure of growth, okay? One of the biggest tools we can use is never investing more than someone else is. But if someone else is owning their shit, give them that space to be human. We are all on a human journey. And I promise you, I fuck up every day, okay? Yeah, it creates trust and dependability, okay, when you allow somebody to have that space. Tips. Know your role, like I said earlier, okay? You need to understand what your responsibilities are, what's expected of you to hold accountability, okay? So is this in work? What's your responsibility there? Is this in a family dynamic with your mom, with your father, with your sister? What do they need from you? Advice, a listening ear? Is this a friend? Is this the love of your life? Okay, deciphering, right, where people fall, okay, will help you identify, I guess, your layer of safety or vulnerability that you're willing to express here, okay? If you are unclear, have that conversation. Communication is key here. Please remember that, okay? It's so important to be honest. Your ego can't exist here, okay? It's time to be humbled, right? Again, if you fucked up, it's cool. You need help, it's cool. But you have to communicate that, okay? Again, apologize, right? Being defensive is only hiding that wound, okay? Now you've got this weapon out, okay? Somebody else is going to be defensive because they can energetically feel that, whether you're being aggressive or passive aggressive, okay? And yeah, just take responsibility and figure out how to make it right and grow from that situation. This will show people, okay, that you understand and that you are taking that accountability. Again, use your time wisely after that. Don't apologize, and then repeat the same patterns, or procrastinate at work, right? Or tune out when somebody's asking for them to be heard. They need a safe space, whatever that is. Show up for it, okay? But also be mindful to not overcommit to anything. That's how you keep your alignments true and authentic. That's how you choose yourself, okay? This can cause missed deadlines, right? Becoming overwhelmed or hurting feelings when that's exactly what you're trying to not do, okay? Which just leads to those defenses going back up and another wall that has to be worked through, okay? The third and the last thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is I'm parched. And it's about choosing you, okay? I kind of mentioned this already. This video is honestly kind of a recap on what we've been working on, okay? And again, preparing us for the chariot for when we go to take action without expectations and attachments, because we're in our best selves and we've embraced people for who they are, right? So I don't know if I said this. I may have forgot it, and I'm gonna be mad if I didn't make a note, but I want to make sure here that I touch on the goal, okay, is to align yourself with people that support you, okay, that want you to choose yourself. I think I do talk about this. I'm getting ahead of myself. But putting yourself first has this stereotype, okay, that you're being selfish, right? In a world where we're supposed to do everything for everyone else and care, right? Especially with what's going on today, right? How dare any of us complain when there are people suffering, dying, okay? What you're going through still is valid, okay, and still matters. And putting yourself first is actually the most least selfish thing you can do, to be completely honest, because you're investing in yourself. You're creating the best version of yourself to contribute to this world, to give to other people, okay? It would actually be a selfish, shitty thing to do to only give 17% of yourself or 80% of yourself, okay? And you deserve someone else's full potential as well, okay? So it goes both ways here. Putting yourself first also means you've actually taken into consideration the wants and the feelings and the needs of others around you, okay? And you have decided that what you are doing is best for you without causing hurt to someone else by not being able to fulfill those needs or wants that they have, okay? Just because it's painful doesn't mean it's not selfless, okay? Here's another reason. No one else is gonna choose you but you. It's a really harsh truth, but it is the truth, okay? You know the quote, right? Put on your oxygen mask before helping someone else. If you're struggling with this, it's really important to evaluate your relationships, as I was just saying, okay? Cultivate relationships where people want you to put your best self first, okay? They're happy to help you grow, right? And help hold you accountable to be the best version of yourself, and vice versa. Again, they want to see you happy and healthy, okay? Reflect on the relationships you have, and when somebody is showing up in their best self, how much easier that is, right? You can really catch a vibe with somebody when they're feeling themselves, okay? When you give yourself attention, you start to show up for others, okay? And again, your loved ones will be able to sense that, okay? Now, I want to talk about something a little bit deeper for just a second, okay? Because it's hard to put ourselves first when we feel really burnt out, okay? This is deeper than just like a bad day or like a little rough patch, okay? When you're burnt out, you cannot enjoy good moments that you would think you would cherish, or maybe you would have cherished in the past, right? But you, being overworked, anxious, stressed, okay, exhausted, numb, maybe, it makes everything feel like a chore, okay? So hanging out with friends, spending time with family, right? Going to a concert, it's exhausting. This is what survival mode is, okay? When you're just trying to get through the day-to-day, right? Your serotonin levels have dropped, okay? All your energy just goes into your day-to-day functions, just getting through that day. Your brain chemistry simply isn't able to enjoy anything or even want to feel happy, okay? And I've been there, so I get it, right? Sometimes saying no, okay, to something that you think you should do because it'll feel good is self-care, okay? That is putting yourself a priority. Resting isn't an option here. It's a requirement, okay? There's an infinity amount of reasons to not take a break, right? We have chores, we have errands, we have to go here, we have to do this. We don't want to be rude, okay? That's why it's so crucial so, so crucial. There's never going to be the perfect time, okay? So take that time when you need it. Invest in yourself every day, whatever that means for you, okay? When we overextend ourselves, everyone else suffers, okay? And that's what causes that deep, deep block. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope that this was helpful, kind of just a little brush up on what we've learned. I am excited to do the next video. Yeah, if this resonated, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.